Good day, everyone. So here we are again for another virtual instruction for your week 3 for interpreting measures of position. And I am again Sir Marv, your virtual math teacher for this virtual instruction. So let us start. For your points to remember, let us consider this quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. We will relate it with the other measures of position. Specifically, for quartile 2, you can relate it with decile 5 because it is pertaining to the same position, which is 50% of the total scores or values is less than or equal to the quartile 2 or the decile 5. On the other hand, if we are going to relate it with the percentiles, we can have quartile 1 as equivalent to percentile 25. If you can remember, we have defined quartile 1 as 25% of the total scores is less than that quartile or that value in quartile 1. And on the other hand, in percentile 25 or 25th percentile, we will have 25% of the total scores are less than or equal to the percentile 25. Okay, so the same goes true with quartile 2, equivalent to percentile 50 or 50th percentile. Quartile 3 is equivalent to 75th percentile or the P75. For this part, let us now relate your deciles to your percentiles. Specifically, our decile 1 is equivalent to percentile 10, decile 2 is equivalent to percentile 20, up to decile 9, which is equivalent to percentile 90. Then, let us observe that your decile 5, which is equivalent to quartile 2, is also equivalent to percentile 50. Okay, so all of these three measures of position are all equivalent. Now, let us apply those in interpreting our measures of position. But how do we interpret measures of position? Let's say, for example, we have the P67 or the 67th percentile as a percentile or measures of position of a particular value. So this can be defined as 67% of the total number of values is less than or equal to the value which has the P67. Okay, so take note ha, less than or equal to the value. Okay, so if you have determined a value or score which has a 67 percentile, 67% of the total number of values or score is less than or equal to that 67th percentile. From that definition, we can also draw out another definition of this 67 percentile, which means that 33% of the total number of values is greater than the value which has the P67. Okay, so it only means that since we have declared that 67% of the scores is less than or equal to the value, which only means that 33%, the remaining percent from 100% deducted by 67%, we will have 33%, which will be the total number of values, which is greater than the value of the 67th percentile. Okay, now let us apply what you have learned from your week 1, week 2, together with the points to remember of this virtual instruction. So let us start with your activity 1. Your task is to interpret the measures of position in that set of statements. So, for example, you are given a set of statements which only pertains to the given, but there's no measures of position. So you have to determine the measures of position that will represent the given data or values. Okay, so for this one, out of 25 students who took the exam, you earned 6th place. What does it mean about your rank in terms of the measures of position? So first, we have to determine what are the given values in our set of statements, 25 students and 6th place. Okay, then from that, we will be drawing out another set of details so that we can establish the representation of the measure of position for this set of statement. Okay, from the given, we can establish that you are in the 6th place. That means 5 of the students scored higher than you. Okay? With that, we determine the percent of the students who scored higher than you, which is can be determined by dividing 5 by 25, which is 0.2, or converted into percent, which is 20%. With this data in hand, we can now say that you scored higher or equal to 80% of the total exam takers. Now, we can now conclude that your rank can be represented as P80 or 80th percentile or the 8 or decile 8. Let us have another example for activity 1. So in the previous example, the given are set of statements wherein you will be drawing out the measure of position. But here in this example, we will have the measure of position and we will be drawing out statements from that measures of position. So here's the example. A school would only accept the students who will earn above quartile 3 in an examination. What does this mean? Okay, so we know that quartile 3 pertains to the score which is less than or equal to the given value. Okay, so 75% of the score should be less than or equal to that given value. So we can now interpret this situation as only the top 25% will be admitted in the school, because the situation tells us that only those who will earn above quartile 3. And if we are talking about above quartile 3, it is above the value which is represented by quartile 3. Okay? So that would be for your activity 1. And I hope that you can answer now your activity 1 items with regards to your week 3. Now, let us proceed with activity 2. Okay, so we are given the following scores of 10 students in a test. So 20, 30, 25, 26, 38, 29, 31, 26, 28, and 30. Okay, so the first thing you have to do here is to arrange the given values or the given scores. So we will have 20, 25, 26, 26, 28, 29, 30, 30, 31, and 38. So this is already the arrangement we need. Okay. Let us now answer a question related to your activity 2. So by setting this example, we know that you can already solve the other items or the other questions in your activity 2. So what scores of the students are less than or equal to 15% of the data? Now, the first thing you will have to determine is what measure position can you apply. Is it decile, is it quartile, or is it percentile? So in this situation, to be more accurate, you have to use percentile. Okay? So we will now determine the position of our P15 or our 15th percentile. So you already know this because this is already discussed in your week 1 and week 2, specifically in week 1, okay, with ungrouped data. Okay, because the given in your activity 2 is also ungrouped, so we will have the ungrouped set of data. So for this one, you can already observe that the computation would produce a decimal. You cannot only just count 1, 2, 3, 4 and determine already the P15 or the 15th percentile. So for this case, we will be doing an interpolation. To successfully apply our interpolation, we will be considering the value that we have computed, which is 1.65. With this 1.65, we will be drawing out another set of details for us to provide the exact 15th percentile. Okay, so since we have 1.65, we will be considering the first and the second. This is just based with the whole number part of your decimal number. So for 1 yung nandyan, you will have the first and the next one, which is the second. Okay, so we will have 20 and 25, and you will get the difference between the two by subtracting the larger number from subtracting the smaller number from the larger number. So we will have 25 minus 20, which is equal to 5. Okay. Now, the decimal part of your computed value will be multiplied to this given value, which is 5. So we will have 5 times 0.65, which will give 3.25. And now, the last value which we got which is 3.25, will be added to the smaller number, okay, from the first and the second. So we will have 20 plus 3.25, which is 23.25. And that would be the exact value of our 15th percentile. And now we can compare it to the given set of data and determine what is being asked in our question. By examining the given set of data, we can now declare the answer to this question is 20 only. So the score less than or equal to 23.25 is 20 only. That would be the discussion for our activity 1, activity 2, and for your activity 2, item number 2, you will just be applying what we had in activity 1 and activity 2 to determine which of those are true or which of those are false. Okay? And for activity 3, you just have to compare the given values to the total. Okay? So always remember, if we are talking about measures of position, you will be considering the total of the total number of the given values, and then you will be comparing a specific value to the total number of given values. Okay, so that would be all for our virtual instruction for this week, and I hope that you have earned something that could help you in accomplishing your week 3 activity sheets. Now, before I end this virtual instruction, let me leave you with this quote. The true measure of a man is how he treats someone who can do him absolutely no good. So let this be our points to ponder on for this week as we accomplish your activity sheets for week 3. That ends our week 3 virtual instruction. Thank you and stay tuned for the next virtual instruction.